just a moment. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. I am your host, JoJo Speaks from Faithful Warrior Ministries. Thank you all so much for joining us for this, our review for 90 Day Fiance. Now, this is season 11, and this is episode 13. So we are starting a new season right on in the middle of it. But I have a couple things to get out of the way before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to mash that thing. So why don't y'all go ahead and mash it for a brother. Also, be sure to leave a thumbs up for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the couples that we're discussing on tonight. And also share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody out here know that JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. Quick announcement for JoJo Speaks. I did release my review for RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10 episodes 1 and 2. I posted that yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So be sure to check that out if you guys are watching. It is a Paramount Plus exclusive, so it's not being broadcast on MTV or VH1, but it is on Paramount Plus. So if you are enjoying that, or if you just want to get the tea on everything that's going on with the show, be sure to check out my review. Again, RuPaul's Drag Race. Thank you so much, Dustin, for watching. I appreciate it. But yes, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. My review for episodes 1 and 2 is up, and I will also be posting my review for Housewives of Atlanta, the most recent episode. I believe it was episode 10, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be posting that tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will be posting Real Housewives of Atlanta review. So be on the lookout for that, you guys. Dustin, how are you doing today? So glad you're here.
I'm doing good. Thank you for posting. I'm sorry about I didn't notice the link wasn't posted, so sorry about that.
It's okay. I should have kept my eye on it as well. I remember to put something in the chat, but I didn't think to look back to see if the link had been posted yet. But anyways, we are here. We have, I believe, 4 couples to talk.
Hi, Lady Virgo.
Hey, Lady Virgo. Thank you so much for being here.
I think Jonathan froze for a little bit. I think he's froze. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Sorry about the technical difficulties this evening.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I had some.
Sorry about that, Jonathan. I didn't know if it was me or you.
it was definitely me. Something went on with my internet connection. So
that's okay.
I'm here. So we have 4 couples to talk about on tonight's show. But first, let me get to this comment from Lady Virgo. Lady Virgo says, JoJo Speaks and Dustin Butler. Hey, good evening, you handsome gentlemen, and good evening to you as well, Lady Virgo. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for this review. And Robin is here. Thank you so much for joining us, Robin. Robin, if you missed it, we're talking about 90 Day Fiance season 11, episode 13 today. So I don't know if I want to start with my favorite couple first or oh, and Lady Virgo says, hey to Robin. Let's start with Mina and Mark. So Mina is from France. She's from Paris, France. She has a beautiful accent. Mina is 35 years old. She has an older son. Well, not an older son, but she has a son who is, I believe, between like the ages of 5 and 10. I think his name is Clayton, if I'm not mistaken. And she also has a child with Mark, who is 59 years old. They have a daughter together. Isn't that right, Dustin?
A daughter, yes, they have a daughter together.
Yes, they have a daughter together, and I, it's- so here's my thing. So it seems like in the previous episodes, Mina met up with Mark's family, and they had the discussion about this prenup.
Right.
And Mina said that she will sign the prenup only on one condition, and her condition to Mark is that he adopt her son Clayton legally. Adopt her son Clayton. Now Clayton is still living in Paris. He is not in America just yet. But she does want Clayton to come over to America, and for also for Clayton to be at her wedding. They are getting married within the next within the next couple of episodes. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Dustin, just off the top, what are your opinions on Mina and Mark? Do you like them as a couple? Do you see
I
genuine
don't.
love between them? What are your
I,
thoughts?
I kind of feel kind of in between, Jonathan, and
Mm,
here's the reason why. Because I feel like that he's too old to be here. I feel like he's 59 years old, and he's too old to be having a kid with her. That's one thing that I definitely see that I don't agree with, and I definitely I think that she should have a if she had a kid, I think she would have been with somebody else because I think by the time he's gonna be getting he's an older person, Jonathan. Yeah, and
mhm,
by the time she grows up, he's gonna be in the middle of 70s or maybe even in the middle, the older ages. And I don't think he realizes how much it takes to raise a kid like that, especially a newborn, a new kid, a newborn stuff like that. So I don't agree with having a having a kid that late in life, I don't think I just see a lot of red flags starting out this season, especially with this couple here. And I just I hope the best for them. I really do, but I just don't see how this is going to work out.
Couples like this always raise my eyebrow for a couple of reasons. Although I have no issues with there being an age gap in a couple, with a couple, I mean,
Mm.
there's an over 20-year age gap
Well,
between.
I think I think there's a little bit too much of an age gap in between the couples,
Yeah,
especially this couple here.
yeah,
I
it's
don't have a trouble.
almost a 20.
I don't have a trouble with the I don't have trouble with the age gap, but especially when you have an involve a kid in there, Jonathan, because I just don't feel like it's going to be. I don't think that he knows what he's getting himself into, especially being that old already and then trying to raise another kid like that. I just don't see it working out that much.
Mark did say that, when his daughter graduates from high school, he will be in his 70s, and that is,
A
I'd
red
say
flag
that
to
that's
me.
that's going to be ringing alarm bells. It's not that
Mhm.
I don't think it's a bad thing for people to have children in older age. I just say it would make things more difficult
Right.
for things to work out in the best way possible because
Hmm.
your ability to I don't know what a good way to say this would be, but I just think it will be easier to have children earlier in age, where if you have children later in age, you run into a lot more issues with that.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that my mother and father had me when they were in their 30s, and so thankfully they're still with us. And the possibility of him being alive later on in his daughter's life is very slim because of
Mhm.
his age. And so it just for me personally, I like to see people having children at a younger age
Younger age.
rather
Hmm.
than an older age.
Right.
Now, as far as the love between Mina and Mark, I can't say that they really look like a
Mm.
couple. Like they really
No,
look like,
I don't think.
two lovebirds who, just want to have a good time. And, and again, maybe that's something you would only see with young love, but I've seen even older couples just really want to be around each other all the time and,
Yeah.
kind of have that lovey-dovey type of relationship. Now, Mark,
Right.
to me, doesn't seem like he would be that lovey-dovey type either, whether he's older or younger. So maybe his love language isn't what I would expect it to be for your average couple. However,
Mm.
I can tell that he does love her. I can tell that he
Right.
does care for her. When Mina brought to his attention her condition for signing the prenup, which is, I think, is a smart thing for Mark to do. If he knows that he wants to hold on to his assets and he wants to make sure that Nina is with him for the right reasons and not just with him to get his money, I think that is a smart thing for him to do. However, I just wish that we weren't in a place where we had to do things like have prenups and things of that
Yes.
nature. Although in these types of situations, I think they are very important because I think that shows loyalty for Mina to show her loyalty to Mark in that way. However, I'm still on the fence about this couple. Once again, I do like Mina. I feel like she does stand up for herself. I like that she does have a voice in this relationship. I like that it's not Mark just calling all the shots and Mark doing everything for everyone, or not doing everything for everyone, but doing everything for Mina. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think Mina is working here in the U.S. I don't think she has
No,
the
she's
ability
not.
to work
She
in the
she she
U.S.
don't
without a visa.
she don't have a green card yet, and you have to
Right.
have
So
you have to have you have to have a visa, let alone, and then you also have to have a green card. That's two different. That's two different things that you have to have in order for her to work here, and
right. So
she has neither one of them yet.
so clearly Mark is making all the money for the couple.
Right.
But I just
But
the thing
I
is
do
I
want
don't want to
I'm
get
sorry.
attached to this couple and then end up getting and end up breaking up further on down the line. Dustin, what were you going to say?
I do want to say that he does not have a job though right now.
Okay.
He does not have a job. Uh, he might have a job now, but when the show was filmed, he did not have a job.
Okay,
Um,
so maybe he's got some savings saved up. Maybe he's, coming off of his 401k. Who knows what the financial situation is? I'm sorry, my eye is itching, y'all. But anyways,
you okay?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good. But I'll probably put some eye drops in after the show. But anyways, Mark seems like he's a nice guy. It seems like he's appreciative of Mina being in his life. I think he feels as though that she does love him. Although asking someone to sign a prenup, I think would be a task that would be kind of hard to do because
Uh,
when you ask someone that you love to sign a prenup, that means to me that there's a lack of trust, at least in my opinion. However, when you're in a situation like this, where he's 59 and she's 35, you have to consider those things. You have to consider that, they might not be with you for love. They might be with you to be able to get a green card or to be able to get a visa to live over in America so that she can bring her son Clayton over, so that she can possibly bring the rest of her family over. You know what I'm saying? So when you
mhm.
get in these types of situations, the waters get really murky. And for
Right.
me, it's like although I know that love is not easy, I know that relationships are not easy, I know that marriages is not easy. However, when you put all these other attributes into your relationship, as in the whole age gap thing, the whole thing where she's from another country and she's trying to come over to America, when you bring those variables into your relationship, it just makes things that much more difficult to try to deal with. And I want my love and my relationship and my marriage to be as easy as it possibly can be. Although I know that marriage and relationship is not easy. I just don't want to
Right.
put so many variables into my relationship to make it more difficult to love someone else. And
So
so I'm
so
just I just don't know what to think about Mark and Mina. Go ahead, Dustin.
can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So if you were with somebody, would you have them sign a prenup?
If I was a wealthy man and I was in a relationship with someone who was not as wealthy as I would consider a prenup, and it
Right.
would really depend on the type of relationship that I had. Because if it
Huh.
was someone that I've known for a long time, maybe someone who I'd have been friends with for a long time and they knew me maybe before I had money, then I probably would not consider a prenup. However, if I'm getting married to someone who is new to my life, who I maybe just met within the last couple of years or so, I probably would consider a prenup. Um,
Right.
because the thing about it is relationships are really different because of the different situations and scenarios that come in with being in a
Hmm.
relationship. You have to take certain things into consideration. And, like I said,
Right.
if I had known them for a long time, if they known me, if we've been friends for a while, and, we grew into a relationship, then I probably wouldn't even consider a prenup. But if it's someone
Right.
who's new to my life and and I'm new to my money and we're new to each other, I'd probably consider signing a prenup because, a lot of times when you get married and then you get divorced, your significant other is liable to have half of your fortune. And so,
Right.
it's I can't blame Mark for asking for a prenup. Um,
Right. Mhm.
yeah. So, oh yeah, and Lady Virgo said, "Heck yeah, Dustin." So yeah, it's a prenup is something that has to be considered. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, because
again,
if I was with somebody, I would make them sign a prenup just to protect myself as well, Jonathan. So I just want to make for sure that we're on the same page with that, because I have to protect what little bit I have as well, you know.
right.
So
So let's move on to my favorite couple. Well, I won't say my favorite couple. I'll say my favorite man on the show, Sarper
Surfer, yes,
and Shekinah. So Sarper and Shekinah, Sarper is now living in the States. They have not married yet. They will be getting married within the next couple of episodes, I'm assuming.
they have
Um,
89 days to wed.
yes, they have 89 days to wed. As y'all know, Sarper is probably not probably. He is my favorite man that has ever been on 90 Day Fiance. I love his personality. I love that he's a jokester. I love how he loves Shekinah. I can see that he genuinely cares for Shekinah. Um,
Right.
although he may not be necessarily aware of all the things that he does to upset her. I still feel like that he does love and care for Shekinah, and I don't think that he
Mm-hmm.
would be in a relationship with Shekinah if he didn't feel that way about her, because Sarper is the type of man who can have any woman he wants. And so if he did not want to be tied down with Shekinah, he does not have to be tied down with Shekinah. So he's with her because he loves and cares for her. But they apparently had some type of fight in the previous episode. And
Did.
Sarper said that they had some makeup relations. And,
Yeah,
of
I see.
course, relations and sex will always, put a cherry on the top of any type of problem that you may be having. But she's still
Right.
having some issues with Sarper. I'm not exactly sure what her actual issue is. Dustin, do you know what Shekinah's actual issue is with Sarper so far in this season?
No, I do not, because I haven't watched this. I haven't watched the season until now, so I haven't.
Right.
I didn't watch the season. I didn't watch the season until we started covering it, so I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah.
Um,
It
so
seems like it might be some trust issues. I know that she has some trust issues in previous seasons that we've seen them on 90 Day Fiance.
yeah,
Lady Virgo says down in the comments, it's just to protect yourself regardless, because you never know what might happen. I'm just saying, you're right about that, Lady Virgo. It's a smart thing to do, especially if you don't know your significant other like that. So it is what it is, but
all
different
right,
people have different perspectives on prenups and things of that nature. But
sure.
Shekinah,
But I
she's
do,
open.
but I do
uh,
see a lot. I do see a lot of red flags in this couple, Jonathan. I honestly do, and
and what are those red flags?
I see it because I don't think that I see it on her side more than I do his side, because
Really?
I don't think that she realizes what he has to sacrifice for coming to live in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she understands that, because his family is in another country,
Right.
and
In Turkey.
he has to sacrifice his whole family to go live in the United States of America, when he knows nobody in this he knows nobody in this state but you, and you don't want to realize it. You do not want to realize it.
I think I do feel that is true, and I will have to agree with you on that, Dustin. I think that Shekinah is holding some type of privilege and entitlement when it comes to her relationship with Sarper. I feel as though she feels like she's the most important one in the relationship, and you can't take that type of mindset when you're in a relationship with someone else, especially when Sarper did not even want to leave Turkey to begin with, but he did this
No,
for Shekinah, and
no,
I don't know.
because he wanted he wanted her to move to Turkey, Jonathan, for the
And she didn't
longest
want
time.
to.
She didn't want to move there,
Right.
and that's why they ended up on. That's why they ended up in the United States. And
Right,
now
exactly.
she don't want to realize that he's here for you. He's not here to be here. He's here for you, and you don't want to realize it. And I had to say that real quick. I do apologize. Go ahead.
It's okay, Dustin. It's very interesting when we see these types of couples on 90 Day Fiance, and we see one person in the relationship not being appreciative of the sacrifices that are being made by their significant other, and
Right,
especially for a man as fine as Sarper is, for her to not realize what she has and the amazing man that she has in her life, for her to not
right,
show her appreciation for that, and to still be hung up on such little things when it comes to Sarper. It's really
mm,
annoying to me. And
mhm.
I just, even though Shekinah is a beautiful woman, she still has some things that she has to get worked out for
And
herself.
how long? My question is to you: how long do you think she's gonna let this go forward? She's been talking about this from season one, and she's just talking about it now, and it's getting tiring to me. It's getting really, really.
The fact that
Oh,
Sarper has not left Shekinah yet tells me that Sarper is going to stay with Shekinah as long as she allows him to stay with her. I don't see them breaking up. I don't think Shekinah wants to leave Sarper because if you look at Sarper, why would she want to leave that man? And I don't know why Sarper is necessarily with Shekinah, to be honest. However,
right,
whatever it is that got him hooked, it still got him hooked, no matter how Shekinah be talking to him. Um,
right.
but I think the fact that Shekinah finds herself giving in to Sarper so easily and so often shows me that they're going to be in this cycle and they're going to remain on this cycle until they get in some type of therapy or some
Yeah,
type of counseling to get
but
their
see, but
relationship
see,
on a better footing.
but
Um,
see, Jonathan,
there-
people on what people watch the show are getting tired of the same cycle. I know I'm getting tired of the same cycle over and over again every
But
season.
but Justin, that's what comes with watching 90 Day Fiance. We get
Yeah,
we get into these same cycles with almost each and every couple that we see on 90 Day Fiance. So,
yeah.
it comes with the territory of watching 90 Day Fiance. But
It's reality TV. We get it. I get
exactly.
it.
So Shekinah's opening up a new location for her spa. And
Right.
she's putting up different things on the walls and things of that nature. Sarper comes over and he
Hmm.
meets her. He meets her person that she's working with. I don't know if he's an engineer or a plumber or whatever he is. And Sarper seems a little bit jealous. That's a little cute to see, I guess. But Sarper should look in the mirror and see he has nothing to worry about. And if Shekinah is going to cheat on
Hmm.
Sarper, we
She
know
could
that
have
she
done
do
that a
not
long time
deserve
ago.
him whatsoever. So,
She could have done that a
Sarper,
long time ago, Jonathan.
right, exactly. So Sarper also wants to dip his foot into stand-up comedy, and
Yeah.
I was really nervous when he first brought up this option because although Sarper is funny like off the cuff, a lot of stand-up people they write their jokes out and they write their material out, and I don't know that sometimes the writing of material does not translate as well as the off the
Right.
cuff stuff comes, in your confessionals and things of that
Mm.
nature. And so Sarper, not Sarper, but Shekinah invites some of her friends to support Sarper in his new endeavor with this stand-up comedy thing that's going on. And she also brings another friend with her that Sarper is not too fond of. Is his name Drew? I think is his name.
Yeah, I think it's Drew. I think it is Drew. He
I,
does not he does not
Y-
like Drew.
Yeah, he does. Sarper does not care for Drew, and so in this stand-up comedy routine, he starts off with the fact that men were the first human beings to be in this world, and he wanted to start talking about the difference between men and women, and it really wasn't landing, at least not for me. But I'm really
No.
hard when it comes to comedy. It takes a lot for me to laugh at something, and that's not to
Mm.
say that I don't think a lot of comedians can be funny. It's just that it just takes a lot for me to laugh, and so.
Well, see,
Um,
I don't think that I don't think that he should be. I don't think that he should do stand up comedy because it don't take long for me to laugh. I'm always laughing sometimes, and I don't like the stand up comedy. He does not do stand up comedy very good. I don't think he would be very good at it. That's just my opinion about that. Hmm.
I think the main issue might be the language barrier with Sarper, because English is not his first language. I think the way that he thinks of comedy may be one way in his Turkish language and then another way in English language. And so I think that might be the issue. But he did tell a joke about Drew in this
Hmm.
comedy thing, and Drew did not take that very well. And we saw in the preview for the next episode that Starper and Drew are going to have a one-on-one to kind of figure out what their issues are. But
Hmm.
Shekinah was embarrassed by what Sarper was saying up there. And to be honest, I don't think he said necessarily anything bad. I just don't think he was that funny. And so, it is what it is. Sarper is going to get my vote regardless of whatever he does
Yeah,
because I just love seeing him on my TV screen that much.
we
We see
both do.
Bianca
Hey,
in the chat.
Bianca.
Hey Bianca, thank you so much for being here, my love. So happy to see you in the chat, girl. I'm going to be rooting for Sarper regardless, no matter what. So it is what it is. But I just wish that, as you said, Dustin, that Shekinah would show more appreciation for Sarper and what he means to her and what he does for her. But let's move on to probably my least favorite couple so far, which is Juan and Jessica. So Juan
Hmm.
and Jessica. Juan used to work on a cruise ship. And Juan also has a child with Jessica already. It's so funny to me that when these couples come on to 90 Day Fiance and they have children already, it's like these relationships are moving so fast. And so Jessica seems to be like your hometown all American girl.
Hmm.
I don't want to say a certain thing, so I won't say it, but I'm very very tempted to say what she's giving me. But I just don't think she's. I'm getting bad vibes from Jessica. I will say that she
Hmm.
seems slightly
You're not the only one,
controlling.
Jonathan. You're not the only one because I'm getting bad advice from both of
Yeah, so Jessica just seems slightly controlling, and she's slightly giving me motherly vibes when it comes to Juan. Juan is a grown man. Juan, Juan is a young man as well. Juan is 31 and Jessica is 30. But Jessica comes off to me like a 40-year-old woman. Like
them.
she's really mothering Juan, it seems like in this relationship. But
She seems like she's
you
very controlling.
Right. She does seem to be a bit on the controlling side. I don't want to say very controlling because she really hasn't shown that much controlling aspects just yet, but she is showing some controlling aspects. I will say that
Mm.
though. But they're planning for their bachelor and bachelorette parties, and one of Jessica's friends gives Juan a T-shirt with Jessica's face on it, and she also gives Jessica a T-shirt with Juan's face on it. But to me, that's a little bit part of the controlling thing. I don't know if
That's a
Jessica
little bit
told her friend to give him
that
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 shirt,
mm.
but
that, take,
it is what it is. Go ahead, Dustin.
that takes a little bit too far. I don't want. I wouldn't want a shirt with somebody. No, I don't. That's a little bit too far for me. When
Nobody
you're
does that. Like we don't do that here. We don't do. Hey, Aaron. Aaron's down in the chat. Thank you so much
hey,
for being
Aaron,
here,
thank you
Aaron.
for being here.
We're talking about 90 Day Fiance season 11, girl. Hope you're watching. Time in if you have any opinions on these couples. But they go out to their bachelor and bachelorette parties. Juan sees some seems like they were burlesque dancers or they could have been strippers. I don't know, but
Hmm.
they get really handsy with Juan. They're rubbing their tatas, their breasts in his face, and he's having a real good time. Jessica goes out with her girls, and they have a good time as well. And Juan has gotten a call from his former employers, a cruise ship. He was working on a cruise ship, and he wants to pick up another contract with the cruise ship to work for 8 months. But he's nervous about bringing this idea to Jessica because Jessica does not want him to go back on that cruise ship. But Juan's friend encourages him to talk to Jessica about it. So when he gets back from his bachelor party, Jessica's a little bit drunk, and he brings up the possibility of him going back on the cruise ship, and she is against it. She is completely against it. She does not want him to be gone for 8 months. He has a child, a new child that is here, and she does not want her child to miss out on her father. And I can appreciate her sentiment. However, Juan apparently, I'm guessing Juan really can't be working the way that he wants to work while he's here
Mm,
in America. So he
mm,
feels like the easiest thing for him to do is go back on the cruise ship, do what he used to do. And he enjoyed that. He enjoyed working on the cruise ship. That brought him joy. And so this
yes.
is just a thing that they're going to have to work through and deal with. I don't know how they're going to come to a conclusion with this. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Juan wanting to go back on the cruise ship and Jessica being totally against it?
You have to make sacrifices in a relationship or in a marriage. And I think that I support him being back on the cruise ship. I really do, 110%. Because I think that he'd make the most money and to support the family from on the cruise ship. You get the most money on the cruise ship. And he would not have to worry about not having money to support his family. And the way that things are these days, Jonathan, and here and he would not be able to do that kind of work that kind of work working for a company in the United States of America. You would have to work you have to do a lot more stuff in order to make the certain amount of money he wants to make. So I did support him going back on the cruise ship, and I think that Jessica does not support that. So I do see a red flag with Jessica so far this season.
Here's my thing about that conversation. Although I may not have the best thoughts towards Jessica, I may not necessarily like her that much. I do understand why she's against him working on the cruise ship because he's going to be gone for 8 months out of the year,
Mhm.
and she does not want to be apart from her soon-to-be husband for that long. And I really can sympathize with that opinion. I really do understand why she feels that way.
Mhm.
However, Juan is happy on the cruise ship. Juan is happy getting money, making money, and working for his family. And I don't think
Really.
that Jessica necessarily cares about that aspect. I think Jessica just wants him to do things her way, which goes back to her being slightly controlling over Juan. But I think we'll get a
Uh,
better idea of their relationship and
as the
the
season
way
goes
things
on.
go with them as we go on. So let's move forward with our
Yeah.
last couple that we're going to talk about tonight, and that
Yeah.
being Madi and Stevie.
Oh, good.
Madi and Stevie. So Madi is 26, Stevie is 37. Stevie looks good for 37. I don't know if she's had any work done or anything of that nature, but Madi
Mm,
and Stevie, they are traveling to New Orleans. They're traveling to New Orleans, Louisiana for their co-bachelor and bachelorette parties.
right.
And in the previous episode, Stevie revealed to Madi, or Madi and Stevie had a conversation concerning her sexuality and the fact that she is possibly bisexual. And she didn't
Mm,
completely admit to it, but she didn't deny it at the same time. And so that leads me to believe that she is more than likely bisexual herself, because it's either
right.
you are or you're not. And if she was not completely not bisexual whatsoever, there's no chance that she was bisexual, then she would have just said no outright. But I don't know if she had this response to that question because she's on
Mhm.
reality TV and she just wanted to kind of get that, question mark going to, is she or isn't she, that might be the case, but I have a feeling that she is actually bisexual. And so when they get down to New Orleans, they meet up with one of Marty's friends. One of Marty's friends who he met on a chat site. So they've been talking back and forth. They seem to be in the same culture of sorts. And so Marty brings up this possibility to his friend. And his friend is, and Marty tells his friend on national TV, don't tell anyone. Well, I mean, you're telling someone on national TV, everybody's going to know who's watching it. But anyways, that's besides the point. But Marty's friend seems to be very protective of Marty. He seems to want the best for Marty, which is what you would want in a good friend. And so Marty's friend then talks to Stevie a little bit. And he
Mhm.
tells Stevie that, what's going on with you guys' relationship, and he says that he's looking out for his friend's best interest, and he only wants the best for his friend. And Stevie is a little bit thrown off by this approach. And she's, they haven't known each other for that long, unfortunately. And so, of course, people are going to be apprehensive when it comes to these types of situations. And so, just really quickly, Dustin, before we get out of here, what are your thoughts on Marty and Stevie? Do you like the couple? I like Marty a lot. I'm still on the fence about
I
Stevie
like
so far,
Marty.
but
I
go
like
ahead.
Marty, but I don't like I don't like the. Well, I forgot what did you say her name was.
Her name is Stevie.
I don't like Stevie because she puts it. She don't understand it. A lot of people, a lot of people don't understand what she's got to understand it more. And I sometimes I don't understand it. If I don't understand it well, you can explain it to me. But I just don't feel like the people don't realize what these other people have to go through in order to get this visa and
Mm,
actually be here. You can apply for the visa and you expect one thing, but when you get here, it's a whole different story, Jonathan. It's a whole different. Just like I say if you and I wasn't from the United States of America,
hmm
and we come here and we stay here and we live here, well, we wouldn't like it because I wouldn't I wouldn't I would want to go back to where I came from.
mm,
Yeah, if I wasn't from the United States of America, I don't think I would be comfortable here. I would be
hmm
more comfortable where I live. But I
hmm
wouldn't be comfortable I wouldn't be comfortable living in another country, if you get what I mean. Because
I do.
I don't think that he's going to be comfortable completely living in the United States of America.
Well, so far as you know, just watching this first episode, I don't see Marty having any types of reservations about living in America. However, we might see him, delve into that type of conversation later on in the season. I do like Marty and Stevie's relationship dynamic. I do see care and love between them.
I do too.
I don't think that Stevie has any alternative motives. I don't think that she's with him for a certain reason. I mean, Marty is a very handsome man. I love the way that he looks aesthetically, and Stevie's
Because
a
I think
very
I,
pretty woman as well. Go ahead, Dustin.
I think it's a culture shock to him. I think it might be a culture shock to him for coming over here and living over here because he's probably used to living a certain way where he came from. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that could be it.
so it definitely would be a culture shock because it takes a while for somebody to get used to something different. I'm the person I don't like change, and I know you don't like change, Jonathan.
You're
So
right.
I don't. That's just how I am. Yeah, I just don't. If I don't like change very much. So uh, it would take me a culture shock to get through, especially if you move to another state.
Right. But I would be very interested in knowing what Stevie's relationship background is, maybe why she hasn't, or well, like why relationships haven't worked out for her in the past, because I like to get a better idea of Stevie's intentions on being with Marty. Because there is
Right.
almost a 10-year age difference between them. And
Mhm.
that's always like a red flag for moi. It's always a red flag for me. These age differences. It's and
Mhm.
that's not to say there's anything bad with a relationship that has an age difference. It's just
Right.
that that's not your average relationship that you would see. No, not whether it's on TV or in real life. It's just it doesn't happen nearly as often as relationships with people who are around the same age range. So
Mhm.
I do like Marty. I have no issues with Stevie whatsoever. Not the way that I have issues with Jessica, but we'll see what happens with these couples as we move forward. As I
Yeah.
saw on the preview, it looks like we have a gay trans couple on this season as well. We
Yes.
saw someone talking about bottom surgery, and so I can only assume that that has to do with a transsexual person. So I'm excited to see how that relationship is and what that relationship dynamic is. But Dustin, why don't
Mhm.
you go ahead and give us your social media contacts before we get out of here?
My social media contacts are Dustin Butler Facebook, and my Instagram is Dustin Butler 700. Now, of course, I always want to thank Jonathan for being here as always, and my whole team. So thank you very much. We wouldn't be able to do the show without my whole team as well. So thank you very much, Jonathan and Tyrone behind the camera. Very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dusty. You're very welcome. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is WilliamJonathanLee@gmail.com. My Cash App is $Jonathan Lee 07. That's $JONATHANLEE 07. Thank y'all so much for joining me this evening. Make sure you join me on Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my Hot Topics and Social Commentary Live. We talk about the hottest topics that's going on in the world. So join me once again every Thursday at 8 p.m. for Hot Topics and Social Commentary. Thank y'all so much for joining
Yeah.
us. Join us next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces as well. Hope y'all have a wonderful week. Stay dry and stay safe out there. Love you guys for watching. Take care. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Mhm.
Bye.